Hey guys, welcome back. We have some urgent information and update that we want to get out to you. What you're looking at is our Google document, and this link to this document can be found by going to any one of our videos, and let's take you there. Okay, if you go to our pinned comment that says update, important update, and go all the way down to the bottom of it, and the link is found right here. Click on that link and we'll take you to the Google document. Another way is to go to the description, and the link is found right here. Takes you to the Google document. But let's go over what I want to do first is kind of review this pinned comment that really has a synopsis, and then we'll go to the Google document, hit some points there. Okay, this is a copy of that pinned comment, and what I want to do is kind of go through it. Important update: in Matthew 24, Jesus said, "This generation shall not pass till all these things be fulfilled." When Israel was once again set up as a nation, they were given a maximum of 80 years. This is known as the fig tree generation, before one shall be taken and the other left. The rapture, which is, in other words, the rapture or the starting of the tribulation. Israel was founded May 14th, 1948. And the definition of a generation is found in Psalms 90:10. The days of our years are 80 years and 10, which is 70 years. If by reason of strength they be 80 years, which is 80 years. Yet is there strength in labor and sorrow, for it is soon cut off and we fly away. In other words, a biblical generation is 70 years to not greater than 80 years. In other words, everything must happen: the rapture, Armageddon, Jesus' return to set up his kingdom, before Israel reach 80 years on Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement, September the 30th of 2028. Scholars agree that Jesus will return on Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement. If we calculate the years, what we come up with is a drop-dead rapture time frame of the following. Okay, if we take May 14th, 1948 plus 80 years equals the 80th Day of Atonement, which is September 2028. And then if we subtract September 30th, 2028 minus the 7-year tribulation, which is 7 times 360 biblical years, which is 2,520 biblical days. And that brings you to November the 6th, 2021. So the maximum time it can go out, according to this calculation, is tribulation, the rapture must start before November the 6th, 2021. However, many scholars believe that the rapture will take place at the end of the wheat harvest, at the time of new wine, and when the day of Pentecost was fully come. This is in Acts chapter 2, which is in late summer. The problem with the above analysis is that summer ends September the 22nd, and the rapture occurs before summer ends. So let's try another calculation. If we take May 14th, 1948, plus 80 years, again, that's the 80th Day of Atonement, which is September the 30th, 2028. And then if we take September the 30th, 2028 minus 7-year tribulation, and the tribulation, according to the Bible in Revelation and Daniel, has a 2-day count, one of 1,260 days plus 1,335 days, which is equal to 2,595 biblical days. And that brings you to August the 24th, 2021. Remember that date because we hit on it later on in this analysis and this update. Okay, this date is a full moon of August and the true 15th day of Av, which is called Tu B'Av. Now, Tu B'Av is a 7-day feast that ends August the 31st. This is the 15th day of the 5th Jewish month, the month of Av. The corrected calendar date would be the 15th day of the 6th Jewish month, and we'll get to that in a second, how the calendar for this year, because it's a leap year, it's off a month, which is August the 24th. In other words, the Tu B'Av, the feast, the 7-day feast, goes from August the 24th to August the 31st. And this is a time when a Jewish man will pick a bride. And a very good information about Tu B'Av is found in this YouTube video, and I'll mark it right here. That's a real good, kind of gives you a summary of why Tu B'Av, this period, the 7-day feast, is a very good rapture date. If the prophecies are correct, then the rapture, the start of the Great Tribulation, and the beginning of the end will occur no later than the end of summer, which is September the 22nd, 2021. And we'll get to our high watch dates that we're looking at. After the destruction, and this is going in about the calendar situation, after the destruction of the Jewish temple in 70 AD, the Jewish people developed their own calendar system. You know, they didn't have a temple. They didn't have a Sanhedrin where that they could present a sliver of the new moon. So they came up with a, which is still used today, the current Jewish calendar system, which is based on the calculations of a 12th century rabbi, Moses ben Maimon. And again, we still can't believe, you know, it's a Jewish tradition. I mean, you know, once the tradition is established, they continue it. And Moses wanted all the Jewish people to be on the same page. You know, they didn't have a temple as to when the Jewish feasts are, so he developed the Metonic cycle of 19 years, of which 12 are common years, in other words, non-leap years, and 7 are leap years, which they add an additional month. And that's the problem with this year. They added an additional month. However, instead of doing it at the first, there's no 13 months in God's calendar. There's only 12 months. And the problem with the current calendar system, it's correct about 70% of the time. The first Jewish month should start at the first new moon on or after the spring equinox, and when the sun is in the Aries constellation. This year, the Torah calendar has the first month starting on March 15th, and we'll show that in a second. However, the spring equinox does not start until March the 30th. When this occurs, the barley harvest for the first month is not Aviv. The barley will not be ready for harvest this year, therefore 1 month should have been added. And Moses' calculation on his 19-year cycle is out of whack. Therefore, we believe that the true start date for the first month on the Torah calendar this year is the sighting of the new moon on April 14th. Sorry, I got choked up. So we believe that the start of the first month on the Torah calendar this year is the sighting of the new moon on April 14th. On the Torah calendar, they're showing the first day of the second month, April 14th. So throughout the year, on the Torah calendar, true month number one, is shown as month 2, and true month 7 is shown as month 8. In other words, they are 1 month off. And this is a very good YouTube video that you can go to that explains it. Okay, so what you're looking at is the Torah calendar for month number 1. And here is a problem that we were talking about. You notice the spring equinox is there, and the sighting of the new moon is right there. And they're showing March 15th, 14th, 15th. So here's the problem. This is the starting of the first month is not in the Aries constellation. It's also, so the starting of the month is before the spring equinox. That violates the procedure there. And what they did, instead of waiting for the next month until it's the first new moon after the spring equinox, what they did, they just added a 13th month. And I'll show you it here. They added a 13th month at the end of the year. God does not, in his calendar, does not have a 13th month. He says to wait until the spring equinox is spotted. Also, wait till the sun is setting in Aries, and at the same time, Spica was renamed from Aviv, appears in the opposite horizon. And that, the first new moon after that, is the first month. So they're 1 month off. The first month is actually shown as the second month. The 6th month or the 5th month is actually shown as a 6th month, which we will be dealing with a lot. Let me get to it. Okay, and the 5th month is actually shown as the 6th month, and this is what we're going to be dealing with. And you will notice too that I don't want to do that. The 7th month, again, because it's 1 month ahead, The seventh month is actually shown as the eighth month, which is Rosh Hashanah. And you will notice that Rosh Hashanah is actually going to show up as October the 7th or 8th. And again, October 7th or 8th is past summer. Summer ends September the 22nd. Okay, here are the high watch dates for the corrected calendar. We are looking for the rapture to occur at the ending of the true Tu B'Av, which is on or around August the 31st. And is there any other further confirmation that the rapture could occur around this date of October 31st? And yes, there is. And it's found in Matthew 24, verses 37 to 41. But as the days of Noah were, so shall the coming of the Son of Man be. For as in the days that were before the flood, there were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, until the day that Noah entered into the ark, and know not until the flood came and took them all away. So shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. Then two shall be in the field, one shall be taken and the other one left. Two women shall be grinding at the mill, one shall be taken and the other left. So the rapture timing will be the timing of Noah releasing the dove from the ark, projected to our time. Noah released both a dove and a raven on the true 9th of August the 17th, and the dove returned, but not the raven. And then 7 days later, again, that gets us to our key date, August the 24th, Noah released the dove, and the dove returned with a olive tree leaf in its mouth. And finally, 7 days later, which is August the 31st, Noah released the dove again, and it did not return. The dove represents the Holy Spirit, and with the Holy Spirit not returning, that means that the Holy Spirit has left, taking the church, the bride of Christ, with him to heaven. And there is a very good study by Pastor Sandy Armstrong, and he goes through this, breaking out that this time period, which falls right in line, again, right in line with the Tu B'Av, the last 7 days of Tu B'Av. Okay, here's some more confirmations, and concerning the August 31st rapture time, around that period. The first Zionist Congress was held on 3 consecutive dates from August the 29th through the 31st, and this was held in 1897, and that is 124 years, perhaps 120 years of striving with man, and 4 years of final grace until the fullness, in line with the barren fig tree prophecy. Also, it's kind of interesting that it is also the day of disappearance, the International Day of Disappearance. How convenient. And it goes on. It's been exactly 4 solar years since the Christ angle alignment of 1,440 days. And all this information can be found at this link. And this is very interesting, and you need to watch the information concerning it. There's a massive solar flare, CME, to hit the Earth on August the 30th through the 31st. It's a series of solar flares, and it is believed to be larger than the Keratin event that was the largest geomagnetic storm on record that hit Earth on September the 1st and 2nd of 1859. When this hits Earth, that's scheduled on around August the 31st, it could knock out power grid for years. And below is a real good explanation of what's incoming. And the guy that does the analysis said he has never seen in his lifetime a situation like this, that everything is pointing to this time period of around August the 31st. And what is interesting, there is a vision that there's a link to it, that there is no electricity in the United States during the tribulation. And there's a link to this vision that is very frightening. You know, without electricity, there's no water. The water pumps stop working. So it could very well be a bad time, and this solar event could be the event that knocks everybody back, particularly the United States, back in the Stone Age. And a major hurricane to make landfall, which everybody by now has heard about it, August the 30th. They're saying it's actually going to cause more damage than Katrina possibly. Okay, I want to hit some final points on going back to the Google document. Okay, this is found halfway down in the Google document, and this is a Bible expert that forecasts Bible information and uses it for investment. And what you're looking at, a key date of May 26, 2021. But he also configured, which is kind of interesting, taking May 26, 2021 and adding some days, and he comes up with a turning point of our date of beginning of the true Tish B'Av of August the 24th. And let's kind of go through some of his analysis, which is really fantastic. Okay, this is very interesting. On August the 15th, 2021 will be 50 years, our Jubilee, the United States, since Nixon took us off the gold standard and created the petrodollar, which requires all oil purchases must be made in U.S. dollars. And this is agreement that he made with Saudi Arabia, saying that, look, we will protect you as long as you make it mandatory that everybody that purchases your oil has to do it in U.S. dollars. And thus was born the petrodollar, or making the U.S. dollar as the global currency. And anyway, he was saying in his analysis, could this point to the collapse of the dollar and the destruction of the United States happening this August 2021? And here's a major update. The petrodollar is based on the fact, again, that 50 years ago, President Nixon made an agreement with Saudi Arabia that if they sell all their oil only to people paying for their oil in U.S. dollars, that the U.S. would provide military protection. Because of that agreement, the U.S. dollar became the world's reserve currency. Fast forward 50 years to the day, uh, on August the 15th, which again, going back up to the date, is the 50th anniversary. August the 15th, what happened? Kabul, Afghanistan fell to the Taliban. And because of our hasty retreat from Afghanistan, leaving behind thousands of U.S. citizens, military equipment, and thousands of allies of the United States, and this is what is critical. On August the 24th, which again, it's our key date. That's Bo Pony's date, convergent date, August the 24th. It's the beginning of start of Tu B'Av and ending on August the 31st. Anyway, on this date, they scrapped the petrodollar agreement with the United States and made arrangements with Russia for military protection. And you must watch this YouTube video. It's fascinating. But that is going to put a hammer on the US dollar, because with people being able to buy Saudi Arabia's oil, and who's backing it up? It's not Iran, it's not Iraq, it's not some little small country, it's Russia that is now going to be protecting Saudi Arabia. Why? Because the United States scared the heck out of Saudi Arabia with their abandonment of not only our citizens, but our allies pulling out of Afghanistan. And this is going to have tremendous repercussions on our nation. Well, guys, basically that's it. Read the document, the Google document. There's a bunch of information, but the key thing is get right with the Lord, so you will make it in the rapture. God bless. I'll see you in heaven.